Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Adams, and I'm Senior Product Manager in support of our energy products. Today, we have Mr. Roy Dantz, and he's landed what's been reported as the largest deal in the annals of 5LINK's history. Without further ado, I'm going to allow Roy to give you a brief synopsis about himself, how he came to 5LINKs, and so Roy, take it away.
Thanks, Keith. I was first presented with the 5LINKs opportunity almost 3 years ago now. The time kind of flies. But the one thing I saw in the opportunity was the ability to sell commercial energy. And that was something that instinctively I just felt I could do. And that's what's attracted me to the business. Now, since I've been in, I have to tell you, I've met a lot of wonderful people, and there's still tons and tons of opportunities here. But the one that I'm kind of working with right now is the commercial energy. My background before this, Keith, was I was in the construction business for 40-some years. So that's what brought me to this point, Keith.
Okay, good. And so I guess the first thing you probably did when you joined the company, you had to get certified. Was that a laborious, or was that a difficult process?
Not at all, Keith. Getting certified was easy. The whole 5LINKs University is it's just built for comfort. Basically, it takes you through the steps, and that's the first thing I would tell other representatives is to spend a lot of time training.
Okay, I think that's some very sage advice, Roy. And now I'm going to ask you about the specifics of that monster of a deal, as it were, that you landed. How did you come across the opportunity?
Keith, I think the first 2.5 years I was in the business, I was preparing for the opportunity and didn't even know I was preparing for it. I started small with people that I knew that had small businesses. I learned the process. I learned the people that I was dealing with at the brokerage, America Approved Energy. And once you've done 1 or 2 small deals, you learn the process. So basically, at the end of last year, I was out having dinner with a business associate, works for another business, and I knew that he knew a lot of large, I'll call them real estate developers. One that he was very good friends with, he took the time to introduce me to, and he basically told his friend that that I was okay and I was on the up and up, and this wasn't a scam or anything else. So he said, "Well, good. Show me what you can do." And from there, what happened is he sent me probably 2 inches of recent energy bills, which I had to sort through. And these buildings that we're talking about, there's about 49 buildings or so, maybe 50 buildings. I don't really remember. 46 buildings in 2 different states. So we went out and we put together pricing on them. And when we got the pricing back and we did an analysis on what he was paying, it turned out to be a no-brainer, Keith. We wound up saving him in excess of $375,000 above what he was currently paying. And so he just said, well, he said, send the contracts to my attorney and let's do the deal. So that's what happened, Keith.
Wow, that sounds great. There's one thing that we know, that business owners are profit maximizers. And so if you can show them how you can save them money, it'll definitely resonate with them. So great job, Roy.
Thank you.
So, Roy, what type of business was it? I didn't hear you mention.
He's a real estate developer.
Okay. So there's a lot of opportunity with that. Generally speaking, Roy, if you could give some other aspiring 5LINKs reps who want to land this mammoth of a deal, what would your suggestions be? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Well, Keith, the first thing I would tell that person is deals like this don't come along every day, as you can imagine. But you have to start. You have to start small, and you have to learn the process. In multi-level marketing, you know, there's a saying that you can't talk the talk until you walk the walk. Well, when you're selling commercial energy, you got to be able to talk the talk, and you've got to learn. So once again, take your training, take it again, and take it again. Start small, and always ask for referrals. You know, once you've helped a number of smaller businesses save money, you become more comfortable with it. And then it's like anything else that you do. You know, we're always networking with people. And, you know, the people that you know can lead you to other people who can really help you. So that's kind of how to get to the big deal. But you have to know what you're talking about, and you can't be intimidated by the title of the person you're talking to. Remember, in all likelihood, all he's doing is paying the bill. He doesn't know a kilowatt hour from an ampere or a volt. All he knows is he's paying a big bill every month, and he's looking for ways to save money. You know, even if you can't save your client a lot of money, you can lock him into a 2 or a 3 year contract where he now knows without a doubt what his rate is going to be for the next 2 years, you know, without the great variations of the marketplace. So, as you said earlier, a smart businessman wants to control his overhead, and he wants to know what it is. He wants it to be predictable. But once again, you know, I would say for other reps out there who want to explore commercial energy sales, you know, it's a wonderful thing to do while you're building your organization, because you know, you can be in your 3rd day in the business and be certified, and when you sell a commercial energy account, from day 1 you're getting 50% of the CV. So it's profitable for the rep, and if you could save your clients money, it's really a no-lose situation.
Hey, Roy, very good advice. Earlier you talked about the process. For our viewing audience, can you explain what that process is?
Sure, I'd be happy to. First thing you need to do when you contact your client is you need to send him a copy of the LOA, which is a letter of authorization, and you explain to the client that I usually tell them, fill out section 4, I'll fill out the rest for you. Section 4 is all the pertinent corporate information, and explain to him that this isn't a contract. This letter of authorization just gives my broker your permission to go out into the marketplace and get competitive pricing on his behalf from all of the ESCOs that are active in his neighborhood. Then you should ask him for 2 or 3 recent copies of his monthly energy bill. That does 2 things. It tells us what he's currently paying. It shows us the current rate. It also shows the usage that they have on the bills. So when we go to get prices, we know what this client's annual consumption is, and we also know what his current rate is, which allows us an opportunity to at least get the best rate we can for him without giving away too much. You know, commissions are obviously paid to 5 links and to the reps. So we want to maximize the commissions by getting a full rate offer, and knowing what he's currently paying allows us to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then just one further thing. Once you have the LOA, Keith, and the copies of the bill, you go on the commercial energy portal on your back office, and you submit the information through that portal to 5 links. 5 links then takes that information, reviews it to see that it's correct, and everything they need is there. And then they forward it to America Approved Energy for them to start the pricing process. And mechanically, that's it. That's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, I was about to add, that's a pretty simple process. Not difficult at all.
No, you just got to do it once or twice, Keith. You know, you got to learn.
Okay. Actually, that's all the questions I have. I think now we'll open it up for questions from our viewing audience. Okay, and actually the first, and I think you've already answered that one, Roy. Someone asked, are we still using America Approved for large commercial energy accounts? And yes, we are.
Yeah, Keith, that's the only broker that I've used since I've been involved. When I first joined, we were using another company in Texas, and I think maybe the first month I was in the business, we switched.
Okay.
So I've been working with America Approved Energy, and they do a wonderful job for us.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, folks, keep your questions coming. Wow, it doesn't seem as though our audience has a whole bunch of questions. Okay, what was the size of your deal, Roy?
It was in total for the 46 buildings for a 3-year contract. The total kilowatt hours were close to 110 million kilowatt hours. And, you know, all the reps can do the math. That generates a CV total of $110,000.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's one big deal, Roy. Congratulations on landing it again.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay, someone wants to know, will this work for school districts as well?
It could. It depends on, I think it depends on the school district and how they pay for their energy. I've never sold to a school district, but I would think you'd want to approach them differently with a school district. You know, if you know someone that's on the Board of Education, and that's kind of who the person you've got to get to. You've got to get to somebody that's a decision maker. They can tell you, like any large business, how they pay their energy bills. They may already be under contract. The school, being a quasi-public entity, may have to put their energy consumption contracts out for bid on an annual or biannual basis. So you have to find someone that first of all, that will talk to you, and secondly, can tell you if they're under contract, and then what the process is.
Okay, Roy, I think this is a good question. Someone wants to know, because we all know that oftentimes in businesses there's gatekeepers that keep you from the person that you need to speak to. Who do you ask for? Or who did you ask for?
Well, obviously, on the big deal, so to speak, the person I was talking to was the principal of the company. He didn't have to go to anybody else. He was the decision maker, and I was introduced to him, so that was extremely fortunate for me. But if you're making cold calls, certainly I would ask for the CFO, because he's the guy that's paying all the bills. And, you know, and once you get the CFO, you know, on the telephone, I would basically challenge him with a question and say, listen, Mr. Smith, if I can save you money on your energy costs and fix the cost that you pay, the rate that you pay for a 1, 2, or 3 year deal, would you consider awarding me the contract if I can save you money? And see what his answer is. And if he says, oh, sure, and then I would ask him again. I'd say, you know, are you the final arbiter on that? Are you the decision maker? And he'd say, absolutely, I'm the CFO, or whoever he is. You have to qualify them with just basic sales qualifying questions. I mean, that's what I would do, Keith.
Okay, good answer, Roy. Someone would like to know from beginning to end, how long did the process take for you to land the deal?
Well, from the very beginning, when I was introduced to the client, I was introduced to him at an Eagles football game, and it was a bad Sunday because I think we lost to Seattle, and from that Sunday till the time we closed the deal, the whole process was about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Not a long time at all. It probably helped if you both were.
No, it wasn't a long time at all, Keith.
Okay, great. Someone wants to know, how do you approach, because they're under the wrong impression that it's not their warm market. Commercial is different. It doesn't have to be your warm market. So you could cold call, like Roy had suggested earlier. You only are locked into your warm market when it's residential. Residential, it has to be somebody in your circle, as it were. But with commercial, you can make that cold call. You can approach the business just like Roy had alluded to, and tell that business owner that I think I could save you money. Would you be interested in listing, or letting me show you how I could do so? So you're not confined by it being your warm market.
You know, Keith, let me add here, for those reps that don't have a lot of experience but want to get into this business of commercial energy. Obviously, once again, training, understand what you're doing. And then what I would do is I'd go back to that list of people that you developed on day one when you got in the business. And then I'd go to the page that's really your chicken list. Those people you're afraid to call, to invite them to a meeting or to share the business with them. Chances are there are some successful people on that chicken list. I would go to that list, pick someone that you know, and call that person, and not invite them to a meeting at all, but call them up, and I would say, hey, Keith, listen, I'm in this new business now, and I wondered if I might ask for you to help me with something. One of the things we're doing is selling commercial energy, Keith, and I know that you know a lot of successful people who own businesses. I'd like to talk to you about the process, and maybe you could refer to me to one or two businesses or people that you know. First of all, you haven't asked him to buy anything. You've asked him for his help. And if he knows you, he doesn't have to be your best friend. If he knows you, most of these people are willing to help you, especially if you're out there showing some initiative. So to me, that's a way to get to know people. And I would bet 9 out of 10 times that individual that you ask for help, he's going to say, well, I have a business. What about me? Can you save me money? And that's really what you want.
Okay, good answer, Roy. Karsten asks, is energy available in our international markets? Yes. And I can field that question, Roy. I'm afraid not. We haven't expanded outside the borders of continental USA as of yet.
Yeah, there's a very detailed list on the VO, Keith, that tells you what states we can sell to. And some states are only gas, some states are only electric. But I would print that list out so you know what states you can market our product in.
Good advice, Roy. Let's see, I'm trying to pick out a good question. Monique asks, should you ever promise them that you'll save them money?
Well, first of all, I would tell you no, because you can't promise them that you'll save money. Here's the reason. When you're first talking to them, you don't know what they're paying, and you also don't know how much energy they use. So until you know that and you get a quote for them, then you can tell them, and what I say to them is, based upon what you're currently paying, this is how much this deal would save you. Now remember, if their usage fluctuates wildly, you know, their costs are going to fluctuate wildly, so your savings are going to change. And the other thing that you don't know is you can't control what their home utility charges. You know, if the marketplace goes down and the rates go down, then their savings are going to be less. The only thing we control as providers of commercial energy is the rate that we quote them. We're guaranteeing that rate. And, you know, for some of you reps out there, if you want to know a little inside baseball as to how the brokers and the companies do that, they literally go into the marketplace and buy futures, energy futures. So they protect themselves when they quote a rate that they got a guarantee for 3 years. So you can't guarantee savings. All you can guarantee is the rate, and you can tell them what the savings would be based upon their current usage and current rates.
Okay, Carl asks, how can we submit the proposal without it being stolen?
Well, who's going to steal it?
Yeah, good question, because you would be submitting it to 5 links, and then 5 links make sure certain it's intact, and then we send it on to the broker, America approved, like Roy had said earlier, and then they have a consortium of different suppliers, and they try to find the best deal, the best competitive deal to win the deal in the long run.
Right. Now, Keith, the one thing you can't prevent against is a client who takes your number, your rate, and then peddles it to another energy supplier and says, you know, what they do then is they say, maybe they have another friend, and they give the number to the other friend and say, listen, if you can beat this, it's your order. People do that all the time in all kinds of businesses, and there's nothing you can do to guard against that. That's why if you're dealing with people that you know, you have a much higher probability they won't do that.
Okay. Actually, Monique asks, is it better to contact the CFO via phone, email, or walking in to speak to them personally?
To me, it depends upon, first of all, do you know the CFO? If you don't know the CFO, but you find out who the CFO is, I would never walk in to see him or her unannounced, because these people are very busy, and you wouldn't start your relationship off very well. I would do one of 2 things. I would make a phone call and try to get that person's email address, and I might send that person an email. And I have a form email that I've been using, and in that email I basically tell them what I'm doing, what I'm proposing, very briefly, how much money on a percentage I've saved similar clients, and then basically I indicate that I would be following up the email within 7 business days with a phone call. Now the key to that is you've got to follow up with the phone call, but at least they've had a chance to look at the email and you're not cold calling.
Okay, good. One, I guess he was a late arrival. Could you reiterate what was the savings that you were able to obtain for the owner of the big deal, the big company rather?
Yeah, it was in excess of $375,000, and that was over a 3-year period. Now I do have to qualify that the savings could have been much greater. Half of the deal, we basically were competing against rates that this client had received 3 years prior. So what we were able to do is, before the contracts were up, those contracts aren't up until next month in May, but what we were able to do was give him a quote that was at the same rate that he's been paying for 3 years, and the market's fluctuated up and down since then, but mostly up, and we guaranteed those rates for another 3 years. So this client looked at that and said, no, here's stability in a rate for 6 years. I know what I'm going to pay, and I don't have to worry about market fluctuations. So had he not been under contract, we could have saved him money from what he was paying on his home utilities.
So, Roy, in your boilerplate email that you referred to earlier, what are some of the things that you mentioned?
Well, basically, now remember, I have a couple of them that I use, but the one that I use most is one that I'm sending to someone that I know. And it doesn't necessarily mean I know him real well, but over the years, through business, we know each other's name. And in that, I send them an email. I tell them that, in the past 2 years, I've started a new consulting and marketing business in which we basically help people save money on bills they normally already pay. And then I say specifically, one area that I've been successful in is commercial energy. And then I list a number of types of accounts. They could be communications companies, they could be print shops, they could be, and I list a number of them. And I say, these are the type markets that I've been selling in. And I tell them I've saved my clients anywhere from 5 to 30% over what they were paying at the time. So I finish that phrase. I just say, I'd love to talk to you to show you how the process goes, explain it to you. And with your permission, I'll be calling in 5 to 7 business days, and maybe we could set up a meeting.
Okay.
If the person doesn't want to talk to me, I'll get an email back and they'll say, forget it. But 9 out of 10 times when I make the call, 50% of the time the person remembers the email. The other 50% of the time he doesn't remember the email. But the fact that I'm telling him that I sent him an email means he acts like he remembers the email.
Okay. And actually, I think that kind of addresses this question. And the person asks, many businesses shy away from even trying to see if there are potential savings because of previous bad experiences with other companies. And how would you respond to that objection?
Basically, what I tell potential clients is that what we are offering are fixed price, fixed term contracts. It's not a variable. So we can't do a bait and switch, so to speak, where I give them a low rate for the first 3 months and then double the rate. Can't do that. We have a contract, and it's like a fixed price contract. So we will not, as long as he pays his bills, and it doesn't matter what the marketplace does, we're guaranteeing that rate for the term of the contract.
Okay. Let's see. Keep the questions coming, you guys. Some of them I think have already been asked and answered, so don't take it personally if I don't read your questions. Okay, Roy, what percentage of business owners would you say are not interested at all about having their usage analyzed?
That's a difficult question, because I could tell you that everyone that I have talked to, or I've gotten an opportunity to actually talk to somebody, I've never had anyone say, no, I'm not interested. They've told me, listen, I'm already under contract, I already have a contract, and when they say that, I say, that's fine. When does the contract expire, and can I contact you then to submit a proposal, a competitive proposal for your business? But I've never had anyone say, no, I'm not interested in saving money.
Okay, Roy, what separates a small commercial deal from a large commercial deal? Is there a threshold?
There is, and if you, once again, go into the your virtual office under commercial energy, and you look around in there, I don't know the exact link to it, but there's a document in there that tells you state by state what's large and what's small. For instance, pardon that phone ring. It's driving me crazy. In the state of Pennsylvania, if the usage is under $500 a month, it's considered a small account, and I think New Jersey's the same. Now you do have small commercial or small business portals where you can. It works much the same way as a residential quote does. You basically go on the page with from your office, from your back office there, not your back office, from your web page. You go in there and sign into it, and you put the address and everything of the business you're talking about, and they'll give you one or two quotes on there, and they'll give you a variable quote, and sometimes they'll give you a 1 or maybe a 2-year quote. And they're not as aggressive or as you would get when you actually have the broker working for you. This is more of an automated process. So, but I wouldn't discourage you from trying it. The more business accounts you can write, the better.
Okay. Some of the reps would like to benefit from mistakes that you may have made before you signed this big deal. Can you remember any pitfalls you may have had along the way?
Probably too many to recount, Keith. But I would say is maybe the first or the second one that I did, I just wasn't ready. I hadn't trained myself enough, or I hadn't maybe spent as much time preparation before I made the call. And even the first one, I'm sure I stuttered and stammered my way through the phone call and everything. But because I knew the gentleman, we were able to save him about 10% on his bill. And it wasn't a large bill. He was maybe paying $1,100, $1,200 a month. But he was looking at $100 savings. So he wrote the order with me anyway, and I'm sure I wasn't very smooth.
Experience is the best teacher.
Absolutely.
Okay. How would you approach churches?
Well, they're paying an energy bill as well. And actually, one of my business partners in Philadelphia, if anyone knows Tamia Matthews, she sold energy to a number of churches. She's the church expert. But I think it's just like a business. Approach them, ask them if they'd like an opportunity to get a proposal to see if we could save you some money on your energy bill. It may not be a lot, but maybe we could do it, and we could lock in the savings. And no one wants to pay more. And remember, this is such a win-win situation. And I will tell you that with the broker, and even on the small business portal, there is nothing on there that's even close to looking like it's unethical. Everything we do is out in the open. It's up front. We don't give them teaser rates and then raise the price on them. Everything is pretty much what we say it is.
Okay. This is a good question. How difficult is it to get businesses to provide copies of their bills, since they may have a feeling that this information is confidential?
Some people think that way and are reluctant to do that. And at that point in time, I just tell them that I need a way for our broker to determine their annual usage, so that we can know how competitive a quote we can get for them. Sometimes, with the big account that I sold, there was a lot of buildings. I only got 1 month bill for each building. I didn't ask for 2 or 3, and basically with that, once again, it was with someone who knew and trusted me on that. He just had his admin go make copies of the bills and email them to me. So it's not like you're asking the CFO or the CEO of the company to go make bill copies. He's got people that will do it for him. It's just that you have to explain that you need the bills to determine a pattern of his usage.
Yeah, okay. Roy Tamia wants to thank you for the shout out.
Oh, great. Great.
So, Roy, what are some of the common objections that you hear?
Well, if I can't beat or match the price that they have, they say thank you, but you're not saving me any money. I like you, but I'm not going to spend more money to get you. and that's not an objection. Some of the objections you'll get with, it's like any part of this business, you'll get the people that will say, well, let me think about it. You know, they'll procrastinate. And what I always tell them, I said, listen, this is your business. You can, you can pay whatever you want to pay for the energy. I'm just trying to help you. If you're uncomfortable with a 2 or a 3 year deal, try it for a year. See how that works. Business people are in business because they have an instinct about business, and they know that the one thing that they do have under their control is their overhead. Not many of them really object to doing it if it makes sense for them, if it makes money for them.
Yeah, and I think you're spot on with that assessment. Roy, at what point do you interject that you work for 5 links? Do you do it? Do you lead with it? Do you front load with it, or do you do it in the middle, or at the end casually? What's your how do you interject 5 links?
Well, more often than not, Keith, I don't. I'll tell them I'm an independent contractor. I work with a direct marketing company, and one of the things that we do market, and I've been successful at it, is commercial energy. And if they say to me, what company is it? I'll basically say it's 5 links out of Rochester, New York. I said, a Inc. 500 company. I said, you can check us out. I said, we've been around for a dozen years or more. More important than 5 links, I tell them, the energy broker that we use is America Approved Energy. They work solely on our behalf for your account. I said they won't go out and offer it to anybody else. And they know all of the major ESCOs that are operating in your area. So I don't hide 5 links from anybody. I don't mention it unless they ask for it, because I would think 8 out of 10 people or 9 out of 10 people don't know what 5 links is. They do know multi-level marketing and direct sales. They understand what that process is.
Okay. Roy, how do you prospect new businesses that you don't have a relationship with?
To be totally honest about that, I think I've only approached 1 or 2 businesses that I didn't know them. In one business, I absolutely had no luck getting to not just the right person, a person. And the other one, I was able to, over time, find the right person. It was a small business, and we were able to save them a little money, and they signed up, with us. But I have to tell you, I still have people I'm trying to get to that that I kind of know, and so I'm still working with, let's just say, my lukewarm market. I am spending a lot of time with referrals from clients that I have, because I think that's your best bet in a cold contact, is having a satisfied customer recommend you to somebody.
Okay, Roy. Roy, would you approach for-profits differently than you would not-for-profits?
No, I wouldn't, because I'm going to assume that a nonprofit organization still has to pay an energy bill, and they'd still want to save money. Recently, I was surprised. I know an individual who is let's just say he's rather high up in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And when I approached him, he just laughed. And he said, "Roy, we don't pay an energy bill. The city of Philadelphia pays it for us." So, I mean, that was unusual. But I really would have liked to have written that account because they're a big user.
Okay. Any more questions? Questions are starting to slow down. Monique asked, will there be ongoing training webinars and or support? Yeah, you can look to your virtual office. There's a lot of documents that we have. Roy has alluded to some. There'll be other webinars, and there's current webinars on in the library, 5 links webinars. So peruse those, become familiar with the process, like Roy said, because it goes a long way being confident about what what you're purporting. Roy, what has changed for you in your business since the deal?
Well, Keith, I'll tell you that the weekend that the deal was announced, I had 350 Facebook requests from distributors. I think the biggest thing that will change for me is, I still work a 9 to 5, although I probably shouldn't be, but I'm still doing it. They pay me too much money to not do it. But I think that now I have a story to tell. Before the big deal, I could relate other people's stories, other people's successes. But now I have my own story. And I think when I'm approaching business prospects and things of that nature, I have something to speak to. And it's something that's legitimate. And I think that's going to change how I build the business from here on in. My time horizon is a whole lot different than a lot of other 5 links reps. I'm 66 years old, and I don't have any idea of stopping working the 5 links opportunity. But I need to get to SVP pretty quick. I have my own old silver BMW, and I need a new one.
I hear you, Roy. Okay, someone wants to know what position you are in the company.
I'm an executive director.
Okay. And can you explain the CV for commercial? Someone asked. I guess they were a late arrival, and they missed that part of your presentation, right?
Oh, the CV?
Yeah.
Cash value? All right, well, it's very simple, and you can go in your virtual office and look under the compensation information, and they break it down for you. But the one thing that's good about how the CV is paid on commercial energy is the fact that you can be an IMR, and as long as you're trained and qualified, if you sell commercial energy, you get 50% of the CV from day one. And the bigger the account, I mean, that could be huge money if it's a large deal. And then the cash value, it depends on where you are in the organization, as to how much your percentage of the CV is. But and that's all available on the virtual office. You can see that.
Okay, Roy. Other than sending out emails, do you utilize the internet in your business to canvass potential clients?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. Although I believe that if I were not working a 9 to 5, certainly I would be using the internet to maybe by zip code or by area to look for businesses and things of that nature to get the type of businesses there is a wealth of information on the net, as we all know. But I currently don't use the net.
Okay. Roy, earlier you talked about now that you've got this success story that you can leverage it for other potential deals. Anything in the funnel?
Got a couple of things working. I've got an electrical supply house that has about 20 to 25 locations. Nowhere near as big a user as what we're talking about. And next year, probably next summer, around May, June, the client that I already sold the big deal to has another 60 buildings that are coming off a contract. So it's about this, probably the same size order. So I'm waiting for another year to do that. And all you 5LINX reps, remember, a customer can only do business with one 5LINX rep. So I'm trying to steal them.
So having that deal in the toolbox, you think it will definitely help you going forward because you can point to that success story.
Absolutely. I mean, even people that you're talking to about the business opportunity, and they say, well, everyone, they ask impolite questions sometimes. Well, how much are you making? And I don't have to answer them and say it doesn't matter how much I'm making. How much are you going to make? How much do you want to make? But at least with this success story, I could point to the one sale and say, listen, this one sale is generating a total CV of over $100,000. How much do you want to make? So it does give you some credibility when you can point to something that you've actually done.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Questions are really starting to slow down. Okay. Actually, I think I got the high sign that it might be time for us to call this a successful webinar.
Okay, Keith, thanks a lot.
So Roy, would you like to make any final remarks before we sign off?
The only remarks I would make to all of the reps out there is, years ago I was in another direct marketing, multi-level marketing company. Did okay with it, did fine with it. But I have to tell you, this 5LINX opportunity is literally the finest opportunity that I've ever seen out there, because it gives you such a varied market to choose from. You can focus on wellness, you can focus on energy, you can do what you want to do out there. You can focus, you could do real well selling security systems and alarm systems. So this is a fantastic opportunity, and I think it's just getting started, Keith. We're just really starting to grow.
Well, I agree, Roy. This is an outstanding company, it's an outstanding opportunity. So we really appreciate your taking this time. I know it was in the evening, and so you were nice enough to take time from your family and spend it with us. And you have a wealth of knowledge, and we really appreciate your sharing it with us.
Thanks a lot, Keith.
So take great care, Roy.
Okay. Good evening.
And to the viewing audience, be on the lookout for other webinars coming from my product team. There's a group of 5 of us, and we all support the different products. So we will, in the future, have more opportunities like this. Thanks for tuning in, and happy selling.